All right, and we're back. And in the last episode, we went over the pause menu and we made it a lot better. And in this episode, I wanted to show you guys how to set up a title screen. Because when you first play the game, you don't want to just jump into the level. You might want to have a title screen. So that's what we're going to set up this episode. So let's jump right into it because it's going to take a minute. On our HUDs, we need to create a brand new HUD. So let's go ahead and do a user interface, widget blueprint, and a user widget, and we'll call this one the title screen. Okay. Now in here, what we need to do is add a canvas panel. And what we're going to do actually on this canvas panel is we're going to wrap it like we were doing earlier. So wrap it with a scale box, and then wrap it with a size box as well. On your size box, click the width override and the height override, and we're going to say 1920 by 1080. Cool. Compile, save. Now what we need is the title screen. So we're going to need a picture. In order to get a picture of your game, you can just press F9 while you're playing your game. So when you play your game, just play and pick a spot that you like and press F9. Once you do that, it's going to appear in your projects folder. So in your documents, Unreal for me, and then I'd find the name of the game, and then saved and screenshots. It will appear here. So I'm just going to pick one of these random screenshots here, and I'm going to edit it real quick. So I'm going to crop it. I'm sure you can crop or something like that in the basic editor. There we go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to put too much effort in that. That's what I want right there. Save as a copy to my desktop. So I'll call it title screen pick. Alright. Now once you got your picture that you're going to use for your widget, come in here and let's upload that picture. So find where you put it at. Mine was on my desktop. It's called title screen. There we go. Title screen pick. Drag it in. Cool. And I'm going to turn mine into a virtual texture. And then I'm going to come over here and save all. The next thing that I'm going to do is if you guys look in the description, I gave you a gear to use. So we're going to drag that gear in too because we're going to use it. So it's called gear PNG. It's in the description. So we'll use that at some point as well. Alright, so back on our title screen widget, what we need to do is let's add that picture up here. So I'm going to put my picture here and I'm going to size it up to where I want it. Now for me, I only want this picture to take up, a small part of the screen because this is my title screen. And I'm going to do this. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to anchor it to the left side over here. And what you could do to make it right is you could just offset it by 0. Everything 0. 0, 0, 0, 0. And then it's perfectly sized up there. And now you can drag it off to as big as you want over here. Alright, the next thing that I want to do is actually I want to pull that down so that the grass is touching the bottom. Compile and save. The next thing I want to do is I want to put like a little blank type area over here. So I'm going to drag off a border and just make it fill up this area over here. So maybe I'll do the full screen or something like that, but I want it to be just this area. Cool. And for her, I guess I can do this too. I can make it a little bit longer up at the top. Alright, so now that I've got my border there, we can change the color and opacity for the border, not the picture. So the border, I'm going to make mine kind of black. Black is beautiful. So black is good. Alright, now we've got that. Now, the couple buttons we need. You're going to need the title of your game. So for me, I don't have a title of this game because it's a tutorial game. But I'll make a title. and you can center it off right here. So click on your horizontal alignment and center it off right there. Now, the title that I want this game to be called, actually, you know what I wouldn't do? I probably wouldn't do this on a border, because the border is going to have restrictions. So here's what I'm going to do. And this is very cheap. I'm going to drag off this picture here, and I'm going to make it fill up this blank area. And I'm also, just like that. And I'm going to also set the anchor to, I guess I can do right side like that. And then opacity. This is where we got to just set it to black. There you go. Color and opacity. And now I got what I want. So this is what's going to be my menu, or my title screen. So I'm going to drag the title of my game right here and anchor it to probably the top middle. Size it up probably to a good size, I don't know, font. Size it up to like that size. Mine's going to be called Tutorial Game. Tutorial Game, yeah. Okay. And make it whatever color you want. You can even bring an image in as the name of your game, which I suggest that's probably the best way you do it. You create it in Photoshop or Blender or whatever, and you bring it in. But for this, I'm just showing you how to get it up here. I'll change the color to blue. Ooh. You can go through and play with lots of different things. You can have it italic. Anyways, but I'm gonna keep mine on bold, because that's all we need right there. So the title, a picture. Now we need a play button. So instead of just going here and just dragging buttons, let's do like we did before, and let's do a vertical box. Alright, so drag your vertical box up, and this is where we're going to drop our buttons to play the game. Compile and save. So I think that we're going to need a couple buttons here. So we'll press play game, reset game, and same shit that we had, same stuff that we had on our pause menu. I think it's pretty much all we really would need on this. So what I'm going to do is drag off 3 buttons again. Drop them right on in, and just like we did last time, let's make sure that they fill out the space. So click on each button and then click on size, fill. And then we're going to go back and add 25 padding to each button. Also, what you want to do is drag a small button over here in the right side, because this is going to be our options button. Let's just make it like that, and let's anchor it down to the bottom right. Make sure your vertical box is anchored into the middle of the screen. Perfect. Now we're going to drop text on each one of those boxes. For the top one, we're simply just going to say play game or play. The middle one, we're going to say reset. And the bottom one, we're just going to say quit. Perfect. And then this one right here, drop a text on that one. And we're going to say for this text, just Shift X. So there's a capital X. But that's wrong. That'll close out everything. We don't want that on this one. Actually, sorry guys. You can take that text off. So come over here and delete the text. We're going to drop an image on that button. And the image that you want is this gear. So take your gear, and you can just drop it in the level, or drop it in the widget. Now drag it underneath the button 4, and you'll see it appear here. Now in order to make it big, we need to fill it out. So here's fill, and here's a fill. So there you go. Now it's the right size. Down here where it says is enabled, we do not want the button to be, we do not want the image to be enabled. We don't want them to be able to click on that. Okay, and so now let's set up all of these buttons. We can actually make this look cooler. So on each one of our texts, let's make sure we click off is enabled each one of them. And this way we'll be able to do some cool things. So take your buttons and for the color and opacity, just set the A all the way. Well, no, you can't do that. Sorry. It's actually going to be for the background color. You can set the A all the way down to 0 on each of them. And I'm going to quit. Now that way, there's buttons there, but it just doesn't look like there's buttons there. And that gives it a little cooler feeling. Also, on your buttons, you can control what happens when they click on the buttons, actually. I never showed you guys that, but there's a style to your buttons. Here it goes. Your style. And when it's normal, this is what it's going to look like. When they hover over it, you can set the tint to a different color. And when they press it, you can set the tint to a different color. You can add sounds and all that from there. Okay. So now, let's set up these buttons here. So on the first one, play game. Let's go to our graph. Actually, let's just click on play game. On clicked. And this one we're just going to say open level by name. And the name that we want is third person map. Or whatever you named your first level. That's what it is for me. And I'm going to comment this one and call it play. Okay. The next thing is the reset button. And we know exactly how we got to do this. So on clicked, it's the same way as we did last time. We're just going to say delete game in slot. And make sure you put the correct slot name in. Mine is called slot 1. It's the same slot you've been using the whole time. So I'm going to comment that one and call it reset game. Okay, compile and save. Back to the designer or quit. On clicked for quit, we're just going to say quit game. Comment that as quit game. Then on our options button, we need to create a new widget for that one. So save, and let's right here in our HUDs, right click, user interface, widget blueprint, user widget, and we'll call this options. On our options, we can open that one up, and let's go ahead and build this out real quick. Canvas panel, wrap, you know, when you want to wrap it with the scale box and the size box. Set your size box overrides over here, 1920, 1080. You could really do it in any kind of, you know, variation of that, like factor of that, I suppose. It has to be by 2's though. So if you wanted to do 4K resolution, you could do that, or whatever. It just makes this box the same size on everybody's screen. Alright, now, on our options, what we want to do is, let's get a black image just like we did before. I'm just going to drag off this image, and I'm going to get the black the cheap way I know how to. And I know there's way better ways to get just straight black, but whatever. Color and opacity, turn it down to black. And you see, mine can go outside the screen. It doesn't matter if it goes outside of the screen, unless you have stuff that you want to see. So for my anchor, I'm going to set it to the middle of the screen, and then you can come and set everything to 0 to make sure it's snug. Okay, compile and save. Now we got the black screen for our options. So at the top of the black screen, we want to write a text that says options. So drag off a text, and let's make it a little bit bigger here, like, I don't know, mine's going to be 100. That's a good size. And this might be a little bit large, but whatever. Anchor it to the middle. We'll call it options. There. Alright, compile and save. Back on your title screen, let's go ahead and finish setting up the title screen by calling that widget, so we don't have to come back here. So on the button for your this one right here, I guess your options button, your gear, let's go to clicked, on clicked, and we're going to remove from parent. Before you do that, you want to create a widget, and the widget that we want to create is the options widget that we just made. After you remove it from the parent, you want to drag off this options widget and say add to viewport, and then it's going to add the options menu to the screen and take off the other menu. So we can compile and save, and I'm going to comment this one and call it options. Alright, we're almost finished with the title screen. Last thing we have to do is make sure that the options are actually set up correctly. Actually, so back in our options, you can close your title screen. We're not going to need that for now. Back in our options though, let's make this options a little bit smaller now that I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to say 75. There we go. Okay, now in options, you want people to be able to control the game, like, depending on what PC they have or what computer they have, they might not be able to run everything at epic settings or however you mix it down. So you want to give them the control to be able to change all the settings for everything. So that's what we're about to set up. And it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to save all before it saves for me. Alright. Here we go. First thing that you need to do is we need to set up some horizontal boxes here. So come over here and type in horizontal and drag off a horizontal box, and we're going to make this one like that. All of these I think I'm going to anchor to the middle of the screen. But basically, this is where I'm going to put some buttons at. So for the first set of buttons, we want them to be able to control the screen resolution. So drag off some text, and I suppose you can leave your text blocks on the left hand side of the screen, but let's make it at least 50. And we'll say screen resolution for this one. Resolution. That is not spelled right. What in the world? Resolution. Alright. Cool. Now what we need to do is add our buttons here. And we want them to have different choices for the screen resolution. So I'm going to give them 4 choices. So we'll add 4 buttons into this horizontal box. So button there, 3, and 4. Now for each one of these buttons, you want to make sure that you fill. And the reason why is because we're going to make it all neat. So fill each one of them. Fill and fill. Alright, so we need to add padding, and again I found that 25 for the padding is really nice. So 25, 25, 25, and 25. Okay, and now what we need to do is add text on each one of these buttons. So add a text block on each one of them. Cool. Now that we've got that all set up, what we can do is take your screen resolution text over here. I kind of like mine anchored over here. And we're going to duplicate it. So you can come over here, right click and duplicate, and it'll give me another one. So instead of screen resolution this time, let's set something else. So let's set our view distance. That'll be a good one, so that they can see, you know, maybe their computer can't render as far as the open worlds you got. For this game, view distance probably won't matter because it's not that far you're seeing. But it doesn't matter. Let's show you how to set it up anyways. All you want to do is take that horizontal box and duplicate that. And just put it right here underneath view distance. Perfect, and it's still locked to the middle of the screen. Okay, next thing that we need to do is let's set a you know what, guys? I'm probably going to have to make this stuff smaller. So let's come to your screen resolution and let's actually take that text and make it smaller. So let's make it 30. Because I'm going to have a little bit more options. So I'm going to drag that up here, anchor it back to the top left, and then drag this one up right here. So screen resolution, view distance, change that size to 30. And that'll be my second option. And then drag that box, oops. And drag this horizontal box up. There we go. Now this is looking tighter. And what I could have done is put all of this inside of a vertical box and then got real neat with it, but it's okay. The next thing after the view distance, we're gonna do the anti-aliasing. So this is like the little pixels. If you want the pixels to be mad pixelated or not, copy this and paste it. So instead of view distance, we'll type anti-aliasing. And I know y'all are probably like, oh god, he can't spell this at all. Probably not. Aliate. Nope, I can't. Alias. Anti-aliasing. I think that's how you spell it. Regardless, I'll fix it if it's wrong. But again, I know what this does. So take your horizontal box and copy and paste that. Oh no, don't do that. Just duplicate it. So right here, duplicate and drag it into place. And then what else do we want them to have? How about the post-processing or shadow quality? Maybe shadow quality is a good one. So drag that up, drag that up a little bit, and copy paste shadow quality. Okay. For the shadow quality, do the same thing. Just take that horizontal box and we'll duplicate it again. This episode is getting mad lengthy, but I swear we're going to have some nice settings by the end of this. Now, here's one thing. I want my texture qualities to be up here, so I need to move all of this around. Either make it smaller or something. So, on each of these horizontal boxes, I'm going to drag it up a little bit, just so I can drag up everything. There we go. Alright, and so for the last one, you want to copy paste, and we're going to say texture quality. Okay, and do the same thing with your horizontal box. Duplicate it. And we'll put this one right here at the bottom. Okay, that's a lot of options. Make sure that you have your options menu set up how you like it, with everything moved around how you want it. I'm not going to get too fancy with setting mine up as far as visually appealing right now, but we've got everything that we need. So let me just move everything up real quick. and then we'll fill out these buttons. It seems like a lot, but I promise you it's not a lot. It's very easy. Or else I would have done it on another episode. Y'all know how I do. Bet. What you can also do is add another button here. It's like a back button or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Go back. So we'll put some text and call it back. Okay. Cool. Now guys, here's the good fun part. For the screen resolution, in our text blocks, let's type in each screen size. So the first one's 720 by 480, I think it is. Yeah. So for here, 720 by 480. 720 by 480. And then just keep on going up in size. So for me, the next size is going to be 1280 by 720. And then the next size is going to be 1920 by 1080. And then the last size is 2560. Well, this is 4K. 2560 by 1440. Cool. Let's go ahead and fill out all the text. So for the view distance, we want near, medium, and far. So we actually don't need this last button in there. So we could just say near, second one's medium, and the last one's far. Okay, for anti-aliasing, let's do low, medium, high, and ultra. Ultra. Low, medium, high, and ultra. And I think it's going to be pretty much the same settings for the rest of them. Low, medium, high, and ultra. You could say maximum or you know, it doesn't have to be ultra. I just like the word ultra. But yeah, the rest of them are going to be the same thing. So you could just title them the same thing. Ultra. Ultra sounds like I don't know, it just sounds cool. High is okay, but if you go into ultra, it's like, yeah. Alright, cool. We'll call this medium. And medium. And low and low. Alright, now that we have all the text set up, let's go ahead and write the code for the text. And like I said, this is not hard, or else I would have separated the videos. So what we'll do is we'll write screen resolution. So let's click on this button here and let's make sure that text is not enabled, and let's work on the button. On clicked. So all you got to do is write execute console command, and then we just write in the console command that we want. So for this one, I believe it's the console command is like r dot set res space whatever you want it to be. So r dot set res space. This one was 720 by 480. And that's as simple as it is. So you can just literally, we're gonna just copy and paste this. So watch this. So back in our designer for the second one, 1280 by 720. Just go down to on clicked. Make sure your text is not enabled, but on clicked, we'll just say the same thing. Copy, paste, and then instead of 720, we'll just say 1280 by 720. 1280 and 720. And this is what we're going to do for this whole row right here. 1920 by 1080. So set this one on clicked, paste, 1920 by 1080. 1920, but that does not say 1920 by 1080. Okay, and then obviously on the last one, we're going to set it to 2560 by 1440. So on clicked, 2560. Uh, 2560 to 1440. Perfect. I'm gonna comment this one my screen resolution right here. See, screen res, and make sure it's bubbled. Pile, save. This is pretty much what we're about to do for all of them. So for the designer, go back to your designer, and we've got all the top rows set. Let's do the view distance now. So for view distance, click on the near button, come down here and, well, obviously make sure your text is not enabled, and then click on clicked. And for the near, this is what we're going to do. For this one, it's going to be a different console command. However, we could just paste and just delete this console command. We're going to write another one right here. And the one that we're going to write is r.viewDistance scale space whatever. So r.view, just like I'm doing it, distance scale. You see how the capitals are in there? You have to make sure everything is capitalized correctly, because this is a console command. So this is like code that we're writing in. So I'm going to put 0.04 for the first one. I mean, just 0.4. So 0.4. And I think it has to be 0.4. Let's just be correct with it. Alright, cool. Compile and save. Back in your designer, you're going to do the medium one. Do the same thing that we've always been doing. So on clicked, you can just take that one, copy and paste. Instead of 0.4, we're going to do 0.7 for the medium. And then the other one's just going to be 1. So for far, it's just going to be 1. On clicked, paste, and set that to 1. Perfect. This is your view distance. So comment that. See, view distance. Okay, and we want the bubble to show up. Perfect. Alright. Now, what do we need next? Let's go back and compile and save. We got all this stuff in here. Anti-aliasing. So let's do the same thing for this one. We got to write another console command. So on clicked, the console command that we want here. So copy paste, delete all of this out. The one that you want for here is r.postprocess AA quality. So watch this one. r.postprocess AA quality. And then you're going to do the same thing. So for me, it's going to be 0, 2, 4, and I think the Ultra will put it 6. Yeah. So this one's going to be 0. And then 2, 4, and 6. Medium, it's going to be 2. So copy and paste, and just change that 0 to a 2. Go back to your designer, go to your high. On clicked, you're going to just copy and paste and change that 2 to a 4. Go back to your designer and Ultra. On clicked, we're going to just change that 4 to a 6. Okay. We can comment this one. I think it's the anti-aliasing. So, I'm not going to play with that word again. I'm just going to press AA. We know what that means. Compile, save. Almost done. Go to your designer. Go to your shadow quality. And for low, we're going to have to type in a whole new console command for this one. So on clicked, here's what we'll do. We can actually copy and paste, but delete everything out of here. And this is not going to be a r dot anything. This one is going to be sg dot shadow quality whatever. So sg dot shadow quality space. I think we're gonna do 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this is gonna be 0. Back to the designer. On the medium, 1. Copy the one from above, so copy, paste. It will put 1 here. Same thing with the high. On clicked, we'll put 2. Copy, paste. 2. And on ultra. Ultra. We'll press on clicked and paste. And we're going to put 3. Cool. And that's for your shadows. So comment that one. See shadows. Shadow quality. Make the bubble pop up. Compile, save. And last one. We're almost done. Texture quality. So for low, what we'll have to do is on clicked. You can actually copy and paste. So copy and paste. Instead of SG shadow quality, just write texture quality instead. So instead of shadow, I'm just going to put texture. Texture quality. And it's going to be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to start this one with 0. Compile and save so nothing happens. Medium, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So medium is going to be set at 1. On clicked. Copy, paste. Set this junk at 1. Back to your designer. High. On clicked. Paste. We'll set this one at 2. And lastly, for the ultra, we'll set this one at 3. Yo. And there's your options menu set up for you. Let's go ahead and comment this one and call it texture quality. Make the bubble show. Good. Now you have all of your options set up so that the player can control them depending on what kind of computer they're on. Maybe they're playing on a potato, but this will help them out so that they can play the game. Last thing before we go is let's go ahead and set this back button up too. You can't leave that out the equation, right? You know what I'm saying? So on clicked for the back button, what we're going to do is we're going to create widget. And the widget that we're going to create is the title screen. Okay. And what's going to happen here is, because they press back, it's going to create the title screen. We need to remove this widget from the screen. So remove from parent. okay, and then after add this one to the viewport. So cool. When you press back, this options menu will get off the screen and the other one will be added to the viewport. So let's say back. Perfect. Now everything is set up perfectly. Last thing we need to do is pretty much call this options menu. The title screen. And what I would do is I would put the title screen on a brand new level. So, file, save all, new level. I'm on a new level. It doesn't matter what you choose. You can choose basic, empty, blank. I don't care. I'm going to choose an empty level. Create. And now, since I have this empty level, I'm going to file, save as, save all. The level that I'm going to name it is going to be title. Okay, and in the level blueprint, what you want to happen is the first thing is that you pull up the title screen. So event begin play, create widget. The widget that you want is the title screen. And the return value that you want is add to viewport. You can also here get the player controller. And the reason why you want this is because you want to set input mode to game and UI. So not actually probably just UI only. UI only. There we go. And the widget you want to focus on is this widget. Now we're not finished here because what's going to happen is you're going to press play and your player is going to fall to their death. So what you can do also is set game pause when you first start. That way he won't fall to his death. Or she won't fall to her death. So what's going to happen is the game's going to get set to paused. The widget screen is going to come up, add to viewport, blah, blah, blah. So that's all we want to happen. So when we press play, our title screen should come up. So let's test it out. Our title screen comes up. One thing we didn't do is set show mouse cursor. So in your open level blueprint, last thing off of get player controller is set show mouse cursor. And you want this to be true. Compile and save. So when we press play, our game comes up and we can do anything. We can just go to our options menu, set all of our options here. We can use our back. We can press play. And we're dead. Wait, real quick, let's fix it. So it's a very quick fix. All you gotta do is drag off in your game mode, so in your third person character game mode, on the respawn, like we said, all you have to do is drag off the third person character right at the beginning and get their dead. We had a dead dead variable for them. Put a branch in and just hook that up to the you can just delete that cast failed. We don't need that anymore. But hook that branch in and hook the dead variable into the condition. So when the player is dead, that's true, then we want that widget to pop up. If not, we just want to open the level like normal. So that way, when we're in our title screen and we press play, it'll just open up our level like it's supposed to. So there you go. That's your title screen. And dang, there's one more thing that I gotta show you. So in your project settings, edit project settings, maps and modes. Here's what you need to do. So the default map, when the game starts up, you want it to be the game default map. You want it to be the title screen. And you can set your editor as the title screen too. But for me, I'm gonna leave it as the third person for now. But now that's it. I promise you that's the end of the video. I'll holla at y'all next time. Peace.